He was the quiet rebel of Hollywood, a lanky, handsome face who transformed from a struggling bit part player into one of cinema's most enduring icons. Yet, beneath the squint and the poncho, Clint Eastwood's journey wasn't as smooth as the stoic gunslingers he portrayed. How did a soft spoken kid go from near obscurity to redefining American masculinity on the screen? And then reinvent himself yet again behind the camera? Clint Eastwood was born on May 31st, 1930, in San Francisco, California. The Great Depression loomed over his early childhood, and his family relocated multiple times as his father sought stable work. By his teens, Clint was shuttling between various schools along the West Coast. He once remarked, "I was in a new place every few years. Never felt like I truly belonged." Far from the larger than life persona we associate with him today, young Clint was introverted and even by some accounts awkward. Rumor has it he was nicknamed Samson at birth by the nurses because he weighed over 11 pounds, a teasing sign of the towering frame he'd eventually grow into. Yet it wasn't all rough edges. He loved jazz music, tinkered with the piano, and harbored daydreams of making it as a musician or writer. Despite his imposing height, Eastwood wasn't the star quarterback or basketball hero. He kept a low profile, mostly flying under the radar. After high school, Clint tried community college, only to realize the classroom setting left him restless. So he took on odd jobs as a lumberjack, hay baler, and even a steel furnace stoker. These gritty experiences planted a seed of resilience in him, though no one could have predicted how that would play out in Hollywood. When he was drafted into the U.S. Army during the Korean War, Clint's life took a fateful turn. Stationed at Fort Ord in California, he served as a swimming instructor rather than going overseas. But the real turning point came on a flight back from a weekend visit. His Douglas AD bomber malfunctioned and crashed off the California coast. Forced to swim over a mile through frigid waters, Clint nearly lost his life. The incident later fueled his personal credo to seize opportunities without hesitation. Years later, he joked in an interview, "I figured if I can survive a plane crash, I can survive just about anything, maybe even Hollywood." And that's exactly what he set out to do. After his discharge, Eastwood found his way into Los Angeles. He hung around Universal Studios, sometimes slipping onto sets in hopes of catching a lucky break. A studio assistant noticed his distinct looks, tall, lean, and undeniably photogenic. A contract followed, but it was anything but glamorous. He was handed bit parts, background roles, and acting coaches who criticized his clipped speech and near absence of facial expressions. Some even told him he'd never make it. His Adam's apple was too prominent, his voice too soft, his manner too stiff. In 1958, Clint landed a role in a new TV Western called Rawhide. Cast as Rowdy Yates, he had more lines than ever before and more pressure to deliver. Television was booming, and Rawhide quickly rose in popularity. Audiences latched on to Eastwood's rugged persona, the reluctant hero who didn't say much but carried a sense of quiet authority. Here, however, Eastwood encountered a subtle form of typecasting, the very qualities he'd been criticized for. His taciturn demeanor, understated acting style, suddenly became hot commodities. But beyond the screen, Clint wrestled with self-doubt. He found the scripts repetitive and the production schedule grueling. Working 6 days a week under the scorching sun left little time for personal life or exploring other roles. Friends recall that in these years, he was hungry for a real challenge, something that would stretch him beyond the cowboy archetype. Yet offers for different genres rarely came. He once confessed, "If I keep playing the same character, people will forget I can do anything else." Behind the calm exterior, he felt trapped. The real turning point in Eastwood's career came in the mid-1960s, when Italian director Sergio Leone approached him for a film called A Fistful of Dollars, 1964. Unable to land substantial roles in Hollywood, Clint seized the chance to shoot in Spain for a fraction of his normal fee. This was a gamble. The project was low budget, financed mostly by European investors who doubted an American audience would ever embrace this new brand of Western. Yet, the film grossed around $14.5 million in the United States alone. Massive sum, considering it cost under $250,000 to produce. Its success shattered expectations. Clint Eastwood's depiction of the man with no name catapulted him to international fame. He reprised that role in For a Few Dollars More, 1965, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966, each film amplifying his status as the new face of Western cool. But with fame came a new wave of scrutiny. Mainstream critics dismissed spaghetti westerns as too violent, too stylized, too far from classic John Wayne territory. Some labeled Eastwood's acting wooden, arguing he relied on squints and grunts in place of real performance. Privately, Clint bristled at the disparagement. He admired Leone's storytelling and felt these films offered a bolder take on the genre. Still, he worried. Would the label spaghetti western star stick forever? While his career soared, Eastwood's personal life grew complicated. He married Maggie Johnson in 1953, well before his breakthrough. The long shooting schedules abroad strained their relationship, and rumors of on-set romances followed him like tumbleweeds. Hollywood gossip columns whispered about Eastwood's charm with co-stars and local actresses, fueling stories of extramarital affairs. At the same time, the studio machine urged him to maintain a wholesome public image, a faithful family man, a steady industry professional. Reflecting on that pressure decades later, he noted, Hollywood likes to put you in a neat little box, whether it's about the roles you play or the life you lead. And Clint wanted to break from every box. His desire to direct his own films simmered beneath the surface. He envisioned telling stories that were grittier, more reflective of the human condition than the classic cowboy shootouts. But first, he had to prove he could survive beyond the Western formula. By 1971, Eastwood sensed it was time for a radical shift. That year, he starred in Dirty Harry, directed by Don Siegel, where he traded cowboy hats for a snub-nosed revolver and a scowl aimed at urban criminals. "Do I feel lucky?" became a pop cultural catchphrase, and Dirty Harry earned over $35 million domestically on a budget of just $4 million. Critics were split over its violent themes, but the box office soared. The success opened new doors, yet controversy followed. Some critics blasted the film as fascistic, claiming it glorified vigilante violence. Eastwood, for his part, interpreted the character as a flawed cop, consumed by the frustrations of a failing system. He neither apologized nor entirely dismissed the concerns. Instead, he used the controversy to explore more complex roles, sometimes within the same tough guy mold, sometimes subverting it. Behind the camera, he took a leap in the very same year with Play Misty for Me, his directorial debut. Made on a modest budget of $950,000, it grossed over $10 million, proving that Eastwood's instincts were commercially viable. It also revealed his fascination with psychological tension, a far cry from the moral clarity of a Western showdown. Suddenly, the man Hollywood pegged as a taciturn action star revealed a deeper creative core. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, Eastwood balanced mainstream hits like The Outlaw Josie Wales, 1976, and Sudden Impact, 1983, with more personal directorial projects. He faced new hurdles. Critics who questioned his behind-the-camera prowess, industry insiders who doubted his creative vision, and marital issues that intensified the public spotlight. His relationship with Maggie Johnson ended in divorce in 1984. He'd had children with other women, including actress and filmmaker Sondra Locke, leading to headlines that painted him as secretive or even manipulative. But Eastwood rarely addressed such matters in interviews. While tabloids buzzed with speculation, he kept an enigmatic silence. Those close to him say he compartmentalized personal strife in one box, professional pursuits in another. Yet it was clear that each new personal entanglement threatened to damage the careful brand he'd built. Unflattering stories circulated about how he handled breakups and custody arrangements. Even so, fans remained loyal, drawn to the blend of authenticity and mystique that defined him. A pivotal moment arrived in 1992 with Unforgiven, a Western that tackled morality and violence in a way few had seen before. Eastwood directed and starred in the film, playing a retired outlaw enticed back into a life he thought he'd left behind. With a budget of about $14 million, it grossed over $159 million worldwide and won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director for Clint Eastwood. This triumph felt like a full circle moment, returning to the genre that made him famous, but reclaiming it on his own terms. Suddenly, the grizzled cowboy star was hailed as a serious auteur. Critics lauded his understated style, his willingness to confront the cost of violence, and the emotional weight he brought to the aging gunfighter. It was validation he'd been chasing since his early days on Rawhide. In his acceptance speech, Eastwood remarked, "I've been around a while, and you just keep plugging away. You hope that one day you do something that really resonates." Even in his later decades, Eastwood didn't slow down. He directed critical hits like Million Dollar Baby 2004 and American Sniper 2014, each raising new debates about morality, justice, and the American psyche. Though his methods sometimes sparked controversy, he famously directed swiftly, rarely demanding endless takes. Cast and crew members described his sets as surprisingly calm and efficient, anchored by that same quiet confidence people recognized in his early TV days. From a young man overshadowed by self-doubt to an icon forging new paths in filmmaking, Clint Eastwood defies easy categorization. He embraced the unpredictability of show business, turning each setback into another layer of grit. Perhaps that's why he remains compelling. Behind the gunslinging squint is a man who continuously challenged his own limitations, refusing to stagnate in the roles that first made him a star. So when you picture a young Clint Eastwood, don't just see the chiseled jaw and the steely glare. Remember the shy kid with unsteady confidence, the soldier who survived a plane crash, the actor dismissed by casting agents for being too stiff and laconic. That's the root of his mystique. He took all those doubts, his own and everyone else's, and transformed them into a persona so iconic it redefined an entire genre. More than that, he kept evolving, directing movies that dared audiences to reconsider their comfort zone. In the end, the scrappy underdog taught Hollywood a lesson that echoes beyond the Western frontier. Real grit isn't just about standing tall with a six-shooter. It's about having the tenacity to keep shaping your destiny no matter what stands in your way. Thank you for watching. If you've ever felt pigeonholed by others' expectations, Clint Eastwood's story is proof you can rewrite your own. He started as an unlikely cowboy and ended up a cinematic legend, carving his path one understated line at a time. If this story resonated with you, feel free to check out the channel. There you'll find more stories where I talk about the challenging life journeys of celebrities.